It's Matt Dallas, and I'm here today with Robert Terrian from Farmers. I want to do the jingle. We are farmers.
We are farmers.
Oh, it-
Ba-dum-ba-bum-ba-bum.
yeah, right. I should have had intro music or something. Anyways, we're here today to just introduce Robert to more people. Robert's been with us in Agritopia for a while now, and just want to help connect him with more people in the neighborhood and share more about what they're doing. The thing that I really like about Robert is that there's this big national brand. A lot of people know it, but Robert's a real person, and he's here real in our community, and he lives in the community in Gilbert here. And we just want to kind of bring a name to the face of, or a face to the name of a farmer. So Robert, can you just kind of start off by introducing yourself and just tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Sure. Good morning, everybody. My name is Robert Terrian, and I'm basically just beginning agency owner of Farmers Insurance. And I've been in Gilbert since 2004. I have 3 kids. My oldest is 27. My youngest is 18. She's graduating today.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. That's super cool.
Yeah, and it is. It's a really wonderful feeling of an empty nest, but it's also scary at the same time. So
I can imagine.
But I've been in the Valley. I've always been with the financial institutions, and been with working in that field for over 20 years. I decided about a year ago to pivot to open an agency, and really my passion was to really just connect with people, build some long-term relationships, and just have more of a hands-on approach with meeting my community and contributing a lot more, because I'm also a proud wrestling coach, and I've been doing that for close to 8 years. I think it's about 8 years, and I want to continue doing that, and I also want to continue just being an advocate for the city of Gilbert.
That's awesome. Where do you coach?
So I coach. I'm one of the coaches for the girls wrestling team at Campo Verde High School.
Oh, that's cool.
So it started with my boys. I was just there helping out in the room, and finally, they allowed me to kind of be mat side during tournaments. And then when my girl decided to wrestle, which was astonishingly surprising, but the girls program has grown so much, and they're so competitive. It's amazing. And she's now been able to, she's going to carry that torch into college. She's going to be wrestling for Colorado Mesa University.
So, wow, that's cool. Congratulations. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. And I love the family aspect of who you are, and we have your family in the ad too. And I think insurance and family is so closely tied, because not everybody maybe sees it this way, but I believe strongly in having proper coverage for your family is kind of a way of showing your love, for them, both in the current day-to-day stuff, right? To prevent big, financial issues, but then also the long-term stuff as well. So I appreciate what you do. What would you say, kind of separates Farmers or you from other agents? Obviously there's other insurance agents out there, but how do you help your customers specifically, and what things are you doing differently to help them out?
So what I do differently, if you want to say what I do differently than other agents, is that, I'm not really trying to, I know everybody's very focused on price. And a lot of times if you see, there's always a carrot being dangled. We get these text messages, or we'll get these ads that come on our feed for our social media, that they say, you're paying $24 a month or $30 a month. Well, right. I'm sure you can get those rates, but you're not going to get the best coverage. And with the way things are today, how expensive it is for a vehicle, not only just the repair. Imagine being accidentally hitting a cyclist on the side of the road. Just the medical cost itself, is going to skyrocket. And if you're just carrying the state minimum, you're satisfying your pocket, you're satisfying what needs to be required by the state. But, when that day comes where something God forbid happens,
Right.
then you're in trouble because you don't have enough coverage to alleviate that liability.
Yeah.
So what I
Plus,
like to do, sorry, I didn't mean to
oh
cut you
yeah,
off.
no,
Right?
no.
No, but what I like to do is I don't like I don't I mean, yeah, it's sales, but it's better when it's education, right?
Mhm. Yep.
Because you offer all your options, you lay it out on the table, and the decision truly is the clients or the customers. And you want
Right.
to leave it that way because you don't want to pressure sale. And I feel a lot of times when, it's a price point, it feels like a pressure sale,
Yeah.
really just in your face type of thing.
Yeah. And I just think about, like you mentioned, state minimum, um, those numbers, as far as I believe I'm correct in saying this, were set so long ago, like 30, maybe even
Correct.
40 years ago, that they're so irrelevant, right? Like the average vehicle
That's
on
a
the
good point.
road is so much more expensive, and the costs are so much higher to repair today's vehicles, especially with all the
Correct.
tech and all the stuff, compared to what it was a long time ago. And I think you're right in having proper coverage is so important, and it does cost a little bit more, but man, and like you said, God forbid something happens, or a lot of
Mhm.
times, I mean, stuff eventually happens. Most people eventually get in some kind of fender bender of some sort. Having the right coverage is so important.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm in it for the long game. I'm in it for really building relationships with young families and just kind of traveling through that history with them, and eventually just helping them when we all age. And
Yeah.
that's what my goal is, just to be part of that age. And it always reflects back to when I was at ASU and I had a farmer's insurance agent,
Yeah.
and that gentleman, it was such a great relationship because he was the first one to call me at the day when you turn 25. It was a big savings.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's not that celebration anymore. But yeah, that
Right.
used to be the big deal. And he invited me to his office, and it'd be like a celebratory thing. It goes, there you go, we're able to reduce your rate a little bit more. And
Right.
he was always looking out for my benefit. Hey, how are you doing with school? What's your grades look like? Let me see if I can get you some discounts there. So,
Yeah.
and that's the type of agent I want to be, is to build that relationship and call you during milestones, and also trying to always find a way to improve your position and making sure you're still covered, right? So, or
Right.
properly covered. So,
Yeah. I love that. Any tips or advice for people that, related to insurance? Because I think there's still, I mean, even in today's day and age, there can be things that people don't know, things that they're not aware of. Anything that you think we should share with people?
so definitely, we said again, don't look at the price point. Really look at coverage, meaning evaluate the coverage based on your driving habits. So if you're someone who's commuting quite a bit, you should probably carry very good coverage. 100,000, 300,000 for bodily injury, 100,000 for property damage, and
Mm-hmm.
also uninsured and uninsured. Um, and also the fact, if you're someone who is close to retirement or work from home and don't travel as much or don't really use the vehicle, there are ways to ask about mileage, low mileage that you drive per year,
Yep.
and also that you work at home. Also, it's a good idea to also share what your occupation is. There's certain occupations that will allow some discounts, veterans discounts, retired veteran, nurse, believe it or not, engineers,
Oh,
things like
wow. That's
that.
interesting.
And
Yeah, no, that's
and
really cool.
it's always a good idea, if you own a home, you have auto and possibly toys, is to really get with one carrier to bundle everything.
Hmm.
They offer large discounts that way as well, rather
Yeah.
than having one over here and one over there. Just really look at tying it all into one area.
Yeah.
Um, And another thing, the last tip I really have is every 6 months or every year, review your policies with your agent if you have an
Okay.
agent. The reason being is your life changes year over year, and you want to make
Right.
sure you got the proper coverage. Not only that, I think you mentioned, or we talked about, going through that life or lifespan with clients, wanting that long term. It could get to a point where they need life insurance, they need health insurance. There's just other things out there that can really provide some benefit for you. Without having that conversation, you would never know. You're always stuck in the rut of just kind of searching for a new carrier every 6 months. But if you get with a good agent, you build that relationship, and you're just traveling down a different journey when you do that.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with that. So let's talk about just the breadth of products and services that you can help somebody with. So, some people refer to it as P&C, property and casualty. So that's
correct.
Autos, right? Vehicles, homes, maybe toys, razors, like that kind of stuff, fifth wheels, that kind of stuff. What else? What are the other products that you're able to offer your customers, your clients?
So yeah, we talk about the autos, the toys, and other assets. I mean, it goes from having renters insurance all the way to small business coverage when it comes to workman's comp, liability, general liability, and umbrellas.
Interesting. Okay.
But also, when I scratch on the surface about life insurance, I'm sure a lot of people know about life insurance or have a small understanding. But there's a lot of benefit to that. If anybody's interested, that's a longer conversation. And then also health insurance. One thing that I've noticed that personally as well, I've been on an employer plan. They're good plans. They cover you when you go see the doctor and things like that. But when you get into an accident or something happens, maybe I practiced jujitsu for a while, and I tore my ACL. I had to go. So it went to the emergency room, right? Well, those costs are different than, the employer plans. If you really look, those costs are a little bit higher, and then you got to meet your deductible. So it gets a little more complicated. So there is supplemental insurance that people aren't aware of that may cost you, a small amount monthly, but have some big benefits on the back end. So if you have for example, you broke your leg, you go to the hospital, you have a $3,000 deductible, and that's out of your pocket. But the great thing with supplemental accident insurance, they'll provide you coverage up to $2,500, maybe $5,000. So what happens is that you get that lump sum to you directly for you to apply it towards your deductible or whatever needs you have. So these are things that I would love to share and educate, because there's so much out there that we don't know about. And being in the insurance business, there's one other thing that I wish that I did for my children, and it's kind of a hard conversation to have. It relates back to life insurance, but it's called juvenile life insurance, where there's policies where you can actually create almost like a savings account, almost some sort of cash value wealth when your children, if you start at a young age and they get to retirement, they actually have access to funds that are tax-free. If they wanted a loan, they could draw their loans off the cash value of their life insurance.
Wow.
And so, and it takes, like I said, that's a deeper dive conversation, and it's actually a great benefit for anybody who's looking for a way to provide some wealth for their children in the future.
Yeah, that's really interesting. That sounds like something that I think a lot of families should probably look into.
Yes.
A lot has changed, it seems like, in insurance in the last few years. It seems like a lot of people are now working from home more than they were before. So these seem to be things that if somebody has had some life change and they haven't reviewed, what they're doing insurance wise lately, like in the last couple of years, especially, that'd be great to just sit down. I think just sit down with you and do a review and compare coverages and compare. Maybe their assets have changed over the last few years and they haven't updated their insurance to adequately cover that, So I love the advice of reviewing maybe every 6 to 12 months, just coverage, life change, things that they may not think about. Like if they're working from home more frequently, they may not think about, hey, maybe my insurance could be a little bit less if I'm driving less miles in my vehicle.
Correct.
So those are great. Those are great things to share with people, I think. And I love the idea for the supplemental. We had an accident a few years ago. Some people watching this know, but my daughter unfortunately got hit with a discus at practice, and
Oh no.
spent some time in the hospital and surgeries and all that kind of stuff. But I wish I had some supplemental insurance at that point. 'Cause you never know, right? You never know when something like that can happen. But anyways, anything else you want to share before we wrap things up?
I mean, really, the great thing with having a relationship with an agent, what I've noticed, and I get this feedback quite a bit, is, when I do win over a client, the one thing that they love that I said is that, the clients say, well, who do I call? I don't like calling the 800 numbers. I don't want to be waiting online just to grab someone if I need that information, or if, I need to file a claim, because these big boxes, it's very difficult to navigate. And I tell them, why would you go through all that when you have me? I'm doing the heavy lifting. And that's what the great thing about being an agent is, that you have one number to call, you have a human to talk to, and that human will do all the heavy lifting for you.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I love that you have the Farmers brand literally behind you, but also you're such a great guy locally here that can help people out. And you've walked through a lot of this stuff yourself as you've raised your family, and now you can help other young families kind of walk through similar things. So I think that's really great.
Especially the adventures of the teenage drivers.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, I'm right in the middle of that. I have one teenage driver and one up and coming, and thankfully I have about 3 years before we get to the second teenage driver. But I can understand that. So I've been there. Cool. Well, Robert, I appreciate you taking time to share this with us. And I love working with you in Agritopia. So we'll share this, and then for anybody watching, we'll put Robert's contact info below somewhere in the comments when we share these videos online. And if you have any insurance questions, if you just want to do a review or learn more about anything medical, maybe for yourself or through your business, or even business, GL, work comp, that kind of stuff, supplemental insurance, or just you want to get a review on the autos and car and home kind of stuff, then Robert's a great guy to check out. So Robert, thanks for being with us, and
thank you.
I will catch up with you guys later.
Thank you so much.